We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi. We are on Love 99.5 FM. We're also on myjoyonline.com live in all 16 regions of Ghana. We're on Radio Max in Takrade, Amenuveve FM in Aflao. We're on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrol Soul, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Soul is always a delightful experience. This afternoon, sadly, 12 years after the death of former President John Evans Atamil's disagreement at his memorial service after Koku Anyidoho's foundation overran scheduled time, delaying the second NDC event at the same venue.
What an irony. You are not related to this man. No. Anybody could come here and celebrate him. He's for the country. But why would you want to clash with that? And then, as a coward as he is, he ran away and then left the people over here.
We have details as brother of the former president accuses Koku Anyidoho of busing fake family members to the Asumdwe Park and instructing them not to leave. We're live at that memorial service. Also, Ghana's escalating debt stock alarms economists, sparking calls for government to stop borrowing and find solutions to fix the depreciating cedi.
Stop the borrowing and negotiate with labor, and look for other solutions like ESLA.
You borrow, and you borrow yourself into debt as you find out. So the national development plan must be set.
And if the nation's debt is divided amongst us, do you know how much your former president John Mahama breaks it down?
Today, if you divide the debt of 577 billion by 30 million Ghanaians, all of us sitting here owe 19,000 cedis.
We have details of that. Also, the Auditor General points to a non-existing formal agreement between the Bank of Ghana and the Precious Mineral Marketing Company to purchase gold under the gold for oil deal.
We are helping the government, bring in refined oil at a cheaper price, which hopefully would eventually feed in to lower prices at the pump.
We'll get to share the Auditor General's concerns with you and get a response from the Bank of Ghana. And why is government still collecting the COVID-19 revenue levy?
COVID is gone, but the effects is still with us. We still have to pay for COVID-19 vaccines to build the immunities of our citizens.
And then in sports, as calls intensify for an immediate inquiry into the Norwegian Para Athletic visa scandal, the Ministry of Youth and Sports is this afternoon setting the record straight, plus a response from the Norwegian Embassy to Joy News inquiry. That and more in this afternoon's edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau. Please do stay on for details. Many thanks for choosing us. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. We dig in now. What you're hearing are sounds of disagreement at the Asumdwe Park, where separate 12th anniversary wreath-laying ceremonies for former President John Evans Atamils is taking place. Well, one event organized by dismissed NDC member and founder of the Atamils Institute, Koku Anyidoho, ran over its scheduled time, delaying the second event organized by the NDC and the JEA Mills Memorial Heritage. According to the late president's brother, Samuel Atamils, Koku Anyidoho basked in individuals he labeled as fake family members and instructed them to stay put, preventing the NDC from starting its program on time.
JEA Mills Heritage Foundation had gone to ask for permission to come here and celebrate the anniversary. Apparently, Koku Anyidoho and his fake family have also gone to seek for the same permission, and both of us at the same time. Now, we were of the understanding that they will be from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock for us to come and set up, have our program from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. When we came, they were here. And Koku instructed those people that they shouldn't leave till 12 o'clock. Now, what an irony. You are not related to this man. No. Anybody could come here and celebrate him. He's for the country. But why would you want to clash with us? And then, as a coward as he is, he ran away and then left the people over here. Now the military was here. The military was here to try and keep some peace. And what did he do? He called somebody who had power somewhere to tell the military that they were intimidating them. We didn't intimidate anybody. And when persuasion fails, force is applied. It is true we are at Asumdwe Park. But when we talk to you and you don't understand.
That's the KEA MP, also brother of former President John Evans Tamils, Samuel Tamils. They're interacting with my colleague Maxwell Agbagba. Maxwell is there live at the Asumdwe Park, joins us on the line. So Maxwell, how exactly was this issue resolved?
Well, about 100 people who arrived in 4 different Sprinter vehicles said they were relatives of the former president. They said they were forced out of the venue, and that they said was disrespectful and humiliating. Some of them said they were not happy with how some security personnel backed orders for them to leave the venue after the first event ended. They insisted they were family members. Later, I saw some senior members of the NDC. I saw the member of parliament for the Diodio constituency, Yaw Anim Barnafo, who calmed the situation after they engaged their group in a 30-minute meeting. Sister of former President Atamils Mercy Araba Kwashi addressed the incident on the podium. She says it is ugly and disgusting, and that the persons at the earlier ceremony are not their relatives. She says they are going to deal with Koku Anyidoho in her own words.
We don't know them from anywhere, and they were here. He has schooled them, telling them that the rest of us, we are paternal brothers and sisters, and they are the real Atamils family. It was so disgusting to find an 80-year-old woman pouring libation and hitting her tummy, saying that Fifi Mama won. And I was wondering if she gave birth as a baby. And now, I want to make it clear to everyone that Koku has stepped on the wrong foot by tampering with our brother's grave without our knowledge. That is totally unacceptable.
Well, the memorial service is still underway. Maxwell, we know that the flag bearer of the NDC, the chairman of the NDC, they've all been speaking. Let's start with the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. What has he been saying?
Well, his speech was silent on the earlier incident. In fact, he was not present during the disagreement. In his speech, he said a lot of the values that the former president, J.E. Mills, stood for are missing in Ghana's current governance system. And he called on Ghanaians to vote for the NDC in December to ensure those values are restored.
His reputation for integrity was widespread nationally and internationally. He was a nationalist, he was a social democrat, and a true patriot. His policies were deliberately geared towards the development and unity of Ghana. His commitment to the national interest over regional, ethnic, or partisan considerations exemplified this nationalist spirit. He was a responsible president. He carefully managed our nation's resources and implemented fiscal policies that aimed at economic stability.
That's the former president, John Dramani Mahama, flag bearer of the NDC. Well, you tell us briefly also what the other party executives have been saying.
Yes, the NDC chairman, Johnson Etienne has also been speaking on the earlier incident. He described Koku Anyidoho as a man pretending to be celebrating Atamils' legacy. He says next year's event will be massive and will be the day of accountability for persons he described as pretenders.
That's my colleague Maxwell Agbagba speaking to us live from the Asumdwe Park, where the wreath laying ceremony for the former president John Evans Tamils is currently underway, and giving us details about that earlier incident that occurred. Meanwhile, Koku Anyidoho has been interacting with some students earlier today, and he says the NDC cannot take credit for the state of affairs at the Asumdwe Park.
Well, it's all about times and seasons and how to make the best out of it. Yeah.
the time we were doing this for our father, we had a lot of stories, news. What's a phone cry to if you call?
Oh well, that's just propaganda. It's vile propaganda. I mean, those who were not able to do it and it was being done, instead of them to appreciate what was being done, they chose to create the wrong impression that where am I taking it to? What we were doing was to remove the horrible covering that was on it. And we are just being frank. President Mills died, like I said, on the 24th of July 2012. It was that same night his vice president John Mahama took over from him. John Mahama stayed in office for 4.5 years. Why did he refuse to give President Mills a befitting resting place?
May the gentle soul of the late President John Evans Atta Mills continue to rest in perfect peace. Now, the Ministry of Youth and Sports says a purported team of 11 Paralympic athletes who went to Norway for the 2024 Bergen tournament were not officially representing the country. Well, the reaction comes in the wake of the emerging reports that a Ghanaian is in the grips of Norwegian authorities for alleged visa fraud when he claims, together with a group of 10 others, that they were athletes representing Ghana at the athletic competition. The coach of the team is said to have died while on admission in Norway, with the others at large with little details on the whereabouts of these supposed para-athletes. However, speaking at a news conference moments ago, Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf says the Ghanaian authorities have not been successful at personally interrogating the athletes. Head of our Diplomatic Affairs Desk, Blessed Suga, is at that press conference, joins us on the line with more details of what we are learning. So, Blessed, let's talk about the other details that the minister has been providing. Well, I'm told that I've just lost a Blessed there, but he is at the press conference. We can listen to excerpts of what the minister has been saying so far. But as and when we get my colleague back, we'll take you live to the sports ministry. Now, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia in 2022 introduced the gold for oil policy as a strategic move to address Ghana's declining foreign currency reserves and the increasing demand for dollars by oil importers. Well, these factors contributed to the depreciation of the cedi and the subsequent rise in living costs across the country. Well, the gold for oil program aims to stabilize the cedi by leveraging Ghana's gold reserves to secure competitively priced oil. Well, listen to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, explaining the benefits of the policy.
To build reserves, to augment our reserves with the purchases of gold. That's how all of this started. And since the beginning of the program, we have bought 181,435.25 ounces, valued at around 348 million US dollars. This is for reserves, gold for reserves. Now, gold for oil, so far we've purchased 50,931, just about 100 million. I'm aware that PMMC says that there is enough gold that they can buy to support the gold for oil deal. For me, the issue is about if you have a government-to-government arrangement which would allow you to buy refined oil at a much cheaper price than the BDCs will do, then we are helping the government, bring in refined oil at a cheaper price, which hopefully would eventually feed in to lower prices at the pump.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, there some 3 months ago explaining the benefits of the policy to the Public Accounts Committee. But 2 years on after the implementation of the Gold for Oil program, the Auditor General report of 2023 points to a non-existent formal agreement between the Bank of Ghana and the agency responsible for the purchase of the gold, which is the Precious Mineral Marketing Company. Well, my colleague Elton Brobe joins me in studio studying details of that report. Let's talk about the concerns of the Auditor General.
According to Auditor General, they were not provided with the formal agreement between the bank and PMMC for these transactions. As a result, he said we could not confirm salient terms of the engagement, including fees or commissions paid to PMMC for their services. Transnational or transactional relationship of this nature must be formalized with an agreement. Without a formal agreement, both parties might lack certainty of common understanding as to the terms which governs the business relationship. They urge management to ensure that a formal agreement is conducted on the gold purchase and the sale transaction with the PMMC.
Let's talk about the response the Bank of Ghana provided to the Auditor General.
Well, according to the Auditor General, the Bank of Ghana responded that the forest reserves came under pressure in 2022, reflecting the difficult macroeconomic environment triggered by the COVID-19 pandemic, the Russia-Ukraine war, and amplified by pre-existing vulnerabilities. In particular, fiscal and debt sustainability concerns and subsequent sovereign downgrades resulted in an inability to secure external financing from the international capital market, a key financing source. The cedi was depreciating and inflation was rising fast. Urgent but innovative strategies had to be devised under the circumstances to navigate the situation to ensure price stability. One such strategy, according to the Bank of Ghana, was management approval to purchase gold from eligible small-scale miners through PMMC for onward sale overseas for forests under the domestic gold purchase agreement. A memorandum of understanding, according to, has been signed with PMMC to guide the operating procedure, but yet to formalize it with a formal agreement.
Elton Brobe, thank you so much. We will get to dig in deeper when you join him on the polls at 3 p.m. on the Joy News channel, also on all our social media platforms. Meanwhile, ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, John Jinapo, says the gold for oil deal has failed and is causing financial loss to the state.
As it stands now, the exchange rate keeps depreciating. Worst of all, today, as you may be aware, the price of a liter of fuel is higher than it used to be for a gallon of fuel. During our time, the gallon of fuel was about 14 cedi. Today, a liter is about 15 point something cedi. The Go for Oil program, our checks indicate that it's causing serious financial loss to the state. As if that is not enough, the exchange rate is depreciating. As if that is also not enough, fuel prices keep going up. Last week it went up, this week it's gone up. This will certainly impact inflation, it will impact productivity, and it will make the cost of living high. And it's all because of the exchange rate. And so clearly, government has lost it. Government is unable to handle the exchange rate. And I think
that's a John Jinapo, and we know that the last mid-year budget review for the Akufo-Addo government was presented yesterday by Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, the Minister of Finance. Well, many of you were expecting that the COVID-19 recovery levy, at least, would have been scrapped. But we've been hearing from the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abena Osei-Asare, as to why it remains.
COVID is no more, but the impacts of COVID we still feel. There are so many things that we did during the COVID-19 pandemic that we are now having to take care of. COVID is gone, but the effects is still with us. We still have to pay for COVID-19 vaccines to build the immunities of our citizens.
When would Ghanaians be relieved of this tax? When?
For the COVID-19 levy, when we brought it to the floor of Parliament, we said that after a period, it will be subject to for a review. And so I cannot sit here and say when, but...
Did I hear you say that we're still paying for the vaccines?
I know that people are still receiving COVID-19 vaccines. Yes. The vaccines are...
You said there are other things we need to do.
Yes,
and one of them is to pay for the vaccines. I'm asking, are you still buying the vaccines?
What I'm saying is that, Mr. Chairman, so the vaccines that are coming in, they are not free.
So vaccines are still coming in?
Yes, people are still taking COVID-19 vaccines.
That's Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Abena Osei-Asare, when she appeared before the Public Accounts Committee. Now, Ghana's ballooning debt stock is raising concerns among economists, sparking fears about the nation's financial sustainability and debt management, even for successive government. With the debt now at 742 billion cedis from 608 billion in 2023, the experts warn that without strategic interventions and prudent fiscal policies, Ghana's economic gains, especially under the IMF, could be ruined. Well, former Finance Minister Seth Tekpe and some economists have been reacting to the issue. We'll get to hear from them shortly, but first, even before the Finance Minister presented that mid-year budget review in Parliament, former President John Dramani Mahama took the time to break down how much each Ghanaian owes.
Our economy is plagued by high public debt levels which hinder investments in social and economic development projects. And I give you, for example, in 2016, if you shared the public debt of 120 billion among 30 million Ghanaians, each Ghanaian owed 4,000 Ghana cedis. Today, if you divide the debt of 577 billion by 30 million Ghanaians, all of us sitting here owe 19,000 cedis.
19,000, he says. Well, weeks after that, the debts, we know, have gone up. Let's take a quick recap of what the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, said about our debt in Parliament yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, as at end December 2023, the provisional central government and guaranteed debt in nominal terms was 608.4 billion Ghana cedis. This was made up of 351.1 billion Ghana cedis and 257.2 billion Ghana cedis for external and domestic debt, respectively. Mr. Speaker, the provisional total central government debt as at end June 2024 stood at 742 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to 70.6% of GDP. This indicates an increase of 22% due to the effect of the cedi depreciation and disbursements from creditors. The stock consists of external debt of 452 billion Ghana cedis and domestic debt of 290 billion Ghana cedis, representing 60.9% and 39.1% of the total debt stock, respectively. As a percentage of GDP, external and domestic debt represented 43% and 27.6%, respectively.
Well, he also announced that the government has granted approval for the establishment of a framework for the reintroduction of road tolls. Already, there are reactions.
It's not a problem reintroducing the tolls, but they shouldn't compound it with the e-levy. They should scrap it.
Any problem?
I don't agree with the reintroduction of the tolls. Of what benefit has it been to us? Our roads were bad when they were taking them. It's not necessary.
Some side about the Abuama say only the tone become a behagene. There's a committee through at their tax and
it will help with road construction. We need roads now, and this will help with it. But it should not add that to the e-levy.
Some motorists there interacting with us in Kumasi, taking us on a quick break here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra. We're also in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM, also live on myjoyonline.com, live in all 16 regions, made possible by Petrol Sol. Your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrol Sol is always a delightful experience. We've been telling you about the disagreement at the memorial service 12 years after his death. That's the former president, John Evans Atamils, after Kwaku Anyidaho's foundation overran scheduled time, delaying the second NDC event at the same venue. We've been hearing from the brother as well as the family of the late Professor John Evans Atamils, accusing Kwaku Anyidaho of busing fake family members to the Asumdwe Park. A return from the break will take you to the Ministry of Youth and Sports as calls for an immediate inquiry into the Norwegian para-athletic visa scandal intensifies. We've been hearing from the sports minister on the very latest on this. That and more here on the Midday News. Please do stay with us.
This is what the Olympics is all about.
Get closer to split-second wins. Closer to history in the making. Closer to your champions.
The greatest athletic achievements of all time.
Get DSTV to get closer to the 2024 Paris Olympic Games from 26 July to 11 August with 9 dedicated channels for the best coverage of every medal and every podium moment. On Supersport on DSTV, your home of entertainment.
when budgets are tight and money difficult to come by. You want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed star 712 hash and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
Dial star 712 hash. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration. Every 1st July 2024. Over dial star 712 hash. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the prizes are cashier in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. And less than 24 hours after government announced plans to settle all outstanding allowances owed CTAC, the leadership has announced a total withdrawal of all services, including attendance of meetings. And my colleague, Mami Sinyamiche Thompson, joins me in studio with details of that statement from CTAC. What does it say?
Indeed, MFA. So after an emergency meeting with their council members yesterday, they've escalated their strike to include non-attendance to meetings, congregation ceremonies, provision of academic counseling services, as well as supervision of students in the halls of residence with immediate effect until further notice. Also, the decision was taken in response to the Minister of Education's directive to principals and the Controller and Accountant General not to validate the July 2024 salaries of teaching staff of the 46 public colleges of education due to the strike that they have embarked on. Meanwhile, they have referred that directive to their lawyers to take action on it, and they've ensured that all their members are determined to stay the course until further notice.
Okay, thank you very much, Mamisi. And we also know that there was a scheduled Parliamentary Select Committee meeting between GTEC and CTAC, and that we are told has also been postponed at the last minute. We are learning the Education Minister has initiated similar talks, and the committee wants to wait for the outcome of that particular meeting. Apologies, we are not able to take you back to the Youth and Sports Ministry, where that press conference is currently underway on the latest about this Norwegian visa scandal. And like we said, Joy News also made some inquiries to the Norwegian embassy here in Ghana, and their response is that due to confidentiality requirement, the embassy is unable to comment on individual cases when it comes to this particular issue. MNJ is a black day, yeah. Okay,
yeah, so I didn't even notice.
It's a memorial service for the late John Evans Atamos.
Yes.
It's a summer day though, but what are people talking about on social media?
Well, MFA, one CD is trending. One CD. You know, that was after Dr. Baumia said he's introducing an initiative where you can pay one CD every month in installments for a phone.
There being clarity.
You know, hence the hashtag. You know, Ghanaians, we try to cover one issue at a time. We try to talk about this when we are done. We come to another one. So today is for one CD, one phone.
Okay.
Yes, and someone says that. You know, I'm sure you've heard this, but then someone says, assuming the cost of smartphone is 2,000, the customer pays an installment of one CD monthly. This means it will take the customer exactly 2,000 months to finish paying, which is equivalent to approximately 167 years.
People have taken time to calculate.
Yes, the calculations has been going on. Someone says, even in the Western world, people don't pay $1 a month for items bought on installment plan. So people have just been sharing their opinions about it.
Okay. Now, MFA, Ghanaian music producer and CEO of Extra Large Music, JMJ, has stated that he's still paying debts for productions he did for his former artist Kaki.
Yes, you know Kaki, right?
During their time, they didn't have streaming platforms, or it wasn't as popular as it is now. So he says that, now Bosho, you go and you do your show outside, you have a concert. That's how they were making money.
Yeah.
And because of that, he used to take a lot of loans, and he still owes loans. So
that's a long time ago. So he's still paying off all those debts.
He's still paying all those debts. And even though she's doing well wherever she is, and she's no longer in music, I mean, right now it's all on his head, and he's carrying it all on his own.
Is that all people are saying on social media?
Yes, people, that is all.
Right.
You know what? There's a new show changing
on Joy Prime.
Airing at 1 p.m.
With Rosalind Felly. I'm on there as well to give you all that's just happening in and around the world of entertainment. Because who am I again? Your loyal Just Girl. So obviously that's what we are doing on there.
I thought you were both independent. there's chubby trending. And that's how we end today's edition of the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com.